Hi, everybody. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. My name's Grace Bell, in case you are just meeting me for the first time. So welcome. So happy to have you in this study, an amazing and interesting study of compulsion, really. So I was working with somebody just today, and we were studying a common moment that comes up over and over again. Maybe every single one of us have experienced this moment. Really, there's two. The stressful moment appears after we're done eating, maybe the morning after. We wake up after a binge on the night before where we've stuffed ourselves, or it's only 15 minutes after we just finished eating, overeating, or we just ended a meal, pushed the plate away, got it from the table with all the people, and then we're noticing just a few seconds later, why did I do that? What am I doing? I didn't stop eating. What the hell is wrong with me? What's going on? The pain of overeating and feeling so uncomfortable, and how much suffering that triggers. There's the experience of pain, and we all have actual physical pain from being stuffed or eating something. A delay might be where you've eaten something that actually doesn't work with your body. Like you really do get terrible joint aches, or something difficult happens because of some kind of food that you've chosen to eat. So it's obviously not a matter of life or death, or you really wouldn't eat it. But something's going on where it doesn't support you in some way. Sometimes people with diabetes have this kind of experience. So we're not talking about, you know what a allergy is like, where somebody's allergic to bees or allergic to peanuts. It comes into their system and they will actually die. They won't be able to breathe if it's just in their system within 5 minutes. Quite an extreme allergy, and very, very important. So there's all those other variations in between, but you might get hives, aches and pains, joint aching, inflammation, whatever. And there you have, you've eaten it, and you start to get that really harsh voice and something that's saying, what's wrong with you? And it's reworking the same problem over and over. We were considering, with listening, I was considering, let's do the work on this stressful thought, because there's something very valuable about questioning the way the mind starts to run, that it almost goes an extreme to the other way. Like, there is something wrong with you, you need to fix this, we're going to crack down, let's regroup on the diet, the dictator is welcomed in, I don't care if I'm in boot camp forever, that's exactly how it needs to be. I obviously need to suppress, control, limit, make a huge boundary against that one who eats. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to fight. We're going to win the fight. We're going to go to war with whatever that is that overeats, and we will not do it again. And there's something harsh in it, stressful, and it can work for a little while or off and on. So one area of inquiry is to really question that one that is so harsh. The dictator. The one in absolute massive control. The one that's ready to bomb a country because it doesn't matter, just for the sake of not suffering anymore. So having the whole thing be over. Attacking yourself, attacking. We can question that. We can question that energy. It is an energy that feels very harsh. It brings a lot of suffering. It isn't relaxing. It isn't peaceful. It isn't loving kindness. So you can really look at that one that believes in punishment or barriers or whatever is the only way. It comes out of an effort to try. It comes out of something trying to reach a kind place or a loving place, a place of peace that could exist. Like, let's just not hit, like little kids learning how to not hit to get what they want or to be aggressive. So we could question that. But what we wound up doing today with this client that I was working with one-on-one was backtracking to the moment of the overeating happening. So she was just noticing lots of worksheets on reflections about her psyche and her behaviors and the experience of overeating and when it got really harsh. But let's see if we can go back to the moment when we're actually eating and not go so unconscious, not sort of numb out. Even if we do feel like numbing out, let's see what's happening in that moment. What's happening with the mind? How are we looking at the world? How are we with this food? What's going on here? And in some ways, a simple thought that's going on in that moment is, I want the food. I don't care if I'm getting too full. This tastes so good. I want it. It's so sweet. It's so delicious. And here's the thing you can do. Imagine if you suddenly had it taken away from you. Because isn't a voice that says, I want it, I want it, I want it, isn't it like a 3-year-old, like a demanding 5-year-old, maybe even a 10-year-old having a fit? I want that item. I want it. Have you ever been in the situation where you remember wanting a certain thing when you were a little kid? I remember wanting those kinds of, I remember wanting Levi's. I wanted my first pair of Levi's. Levi's are so cool. I want Levi's. And I didn't get them and didn't get them. And I finally got them. But now I just think, now I actually don't wear Levi's that much anymore. And I wore Levi's for many, many, many years. And then it was like, you can't expand your jeans wearing to other things besides the same old Levi's all the time. And now I notice, I don't have that feeling at all. So what changed? My perspective. I grew up. I have a different view. There's lots of offerings and choices. I love the Levi's. I still love them. But it's not like that same feeling that I had when I was 10, 11. So we're looking at this energy and this feeling that it's filled with desire, and attachment is a word that we commonly hear, often used in kind of spiritual circles, but it just means I want it and I'm going to get it and I'm not going to let go of wanting it. I don't like the idea of not wanting it. So let's look at that, because that's stressful. There's wanting. Wanting happens all the time. I want a glass of water. I'm thirsty. I really do want a glass of water if I'm really thirsty. There's no harm in that. But what is this where there's so much wanting going on in the world? Wanting with food and eating. A compulsion to, I actually have enough food, but I still want some more. So in the middle of that meal, in the middle of that needing to eat that whole bag, or in the watching that thing happen, or that return to the kitchen over and over again all evening to get more of something. What's happening with that energy? So here's the thing you can do. Imagine if some kind of mechanism came in, some kind of all magical power entered your environmental space, wherever you are, secretly. If you're around other people, they don't even have to know it's happening. And this thing stopped food from being continued to be eaten by you. You're done. You can do anything else in the world, anything else can happen, but that is over. Right in that middle of wanting. Just see what happens. Here's what's really interesting that I like to notice is there can be a scream of a tantrum of not getting what you want. If suddenly it was interrupted and you just couldn't get something into your mouth, it's just like enraged, like all this incredible pain of not getting what you absolutely believe you want. Horrible that you don't get it. In a way, you can see the sense of almost sadness underneath. That's what I loved about this inquirer, sitting with her sadness that she had about not getting what she wants. So rage, and then sadness, and then maybe apathy, All these things are stressful. Like, I don't believe that if I actually just stop eating, I can move on, feel peaceful, and be happy. I don't think that's possible, or some part of me doesn't think it's possible. The 5-year-old inside of me doesn't think it's possible. The one that started the ball rolling on the wanting, or the habit of just wanting endlessly. I was noticing the other day, my God, I have this thing about wanting to feel successful in my business and earn enough money and earn more money and get enough money to finish that thing in support of my mother. Just these things that grow and up. When's the end? Can we be happy with it not happening? Can we be happy with it not happening, with stopping? I thought I wanted it, but just not moving forward, stopping. How long does it take to wonder, to pause a moment, to take a deep breath in the middle of eating, of that sort of trance state that sometimes seems to occur? It is not ever 100% in the trance. You're not ever, you're still sane. You're still, feels like we're in a trance. Feels like you're on a roller coaster ride and the only direction is down. But can you actually stop? So one fun way to think about it is if somebody from your past who you absolutely adored, surprise knocked on the door right at that moment when you were in the middle of eating that food. You and open the door, you would stop. Oh my God! If something happened, and it would be so ecstatic. Just to notice interruption is possible. I mean, would you ignore it and say, yeah, that's fine, but I'm busy with this right now? No, it's possible that this motion of wanting can be interrupted. And maybe it doesn't take as much as something that I just mentioned, the old friend knocking on the door, somebody who's come back to life that you always wanted to see. All of a sudden it would be completely dropped. But it's your perspective. The point is that there is a possibility that you could pause. You could pause this energy and this motion and this fury sometimes, the insistence on getting that thing you want. If that's the only thing that's going to make you happy, you can pause. You can wake up out of it. Do I really need that? And it's not that you should pause, because the minute you start being interested in the dictator, the one that needs to be in charge, and I'm going to make a boundary, make myself stop, then we are in controlled, kind of controlled harshness. And we've leaned the other way, which is the same kind of a feeling as when you go on a diet and you're sticking to your diet. But something isn't completely free and natural and uninhibited and open and relaxed, unknown, mysterious. We're so interested in the mysterious, like you were when you were a baby, like you were when you were 1 and 2, and before you started learning either that incredible wanting or harshness against wanting, either one of those. So in the middle of that eating, who would you be without your story? That you have to eat it, you have to keep going, you must eat the whole thing. But if you just paused, and exercise is even, what if you paused and knowing another bite is totally fine, I'm just going to pause for 30 seconds. Can you handle it? Yes, you can. You might be amazed that pausing for 30 to 60 seconds only changes the whole course of the meal. What? Could it be that short? Impossible. It takes a lot of energy to keep the momentum going, to eat. More than you know. Just a pause. As long as you're, eating enough, we're not starving ourselves to death. in the middle of that meal, being relaxed, not being so scared that I'm going to eat too much or not enough, just without that kind of fear, and just seeing what feels right now. What really feels right? Let's check in. Let's check in with the whole organism, not just the mind. Let's just check in and see what the stomach feels like, the body feels like, what my energy feels like. Could I just wait and see? Then there's a sense of greater relaxation. The panic, the anxiety, that all can come way down. And then it's much easier to see what you really want in that moment. What do you really want? Because being in the more extreme, like the way if you had a picture of sound waves going way up high and way down low, if they just mellow out a little bit, kind of a smooth ocean, not such extreme, then you won't have to visit the one that says, you did it wrong, I hate you, you're so harsh, why did you do that, what's wrong with you, that repeats itself over and over again. If the harsh, violent voice worked, it would have worked by now. So dictator unnecessary, maybe really truly interested in a more peaceful way. But let's see about the one that is the one that's demanding and wants. Maybe it feels more like a teenager inside of you, but sometimes it goes back to kind of a child just wanting to grab, keep eating. I love it so much. I love it so much. Who would you be without that story? Who would you be without that story? I don't really want it that much. Could that be the more genuine turnaround? What if this is just a temporary mechanism? We always stop. I mean, there's always an end of a eating, even if it's a binge episode. We always do actually stop. We're not nonstop 24/7 eating. Even if you're somebody that binges a lot, you stop binging. It's just that you start again. But we don't want to get, it's going to be more peaceful, of course, to not be in that pattern. So let's let stopping happen sooner. Just moving the needle down a little bit, because overall that will bring more balance. It'll be more gentle. It's more compassionate. So let's study that moment. Everything that's happening when we think we're in a trance, when we think we're compulsively eating and we can't stop, when we're just freaking out, and like the way I used to be, like I'm getting in my car and I'm driving from place to place to place, like hunting, like just almost feels like somebody who is scared, who's running for their life. Their survival seems to be all involved in it. If I don't get it, it will be terrible. There'll be a scream that's like beyond this world. And then sadness and despair. And maybe we just go through that, move through it, and then see, am I still standing? Is it still okay? Look at that. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's okay. It is safe to stop eating. And it's possible to stop eating, but it's safe to stop eating. Just noticing that. All right. Let me know how it goes.